Welcome to Activity 3.7, Statistical Analysis with Excel. So the first thing you want to do is open up a blank Excel document here, or file. In box A1, type in Activity 3.7, Statistical Analysis with Excel. In box A2, or cell A2, let's get your name. And then in A3, type in height of students. And then in A4 and B4, let's get type in feet and inches. All right. All right, so once you've inputted all your data, let's look at number 4 here. We need to use a formula or a function here in Excel to convert each height to decimal feet and place the results in column C. All right, so let's come back to Excel here. Okay, so type in decimal feet here. Now click on this cell, hit the equal sign. Okay, this will start creating a function or a formula here. So we want to take A5 here, click on there, then you type up here, type the plus sign, plus, okay, cell B5 here, click on B5 and then hit divided by, well, how many inches are in a foot? 12. So we divide it by 12 and that'll give us decimal feet. Hit enter and there we go. Now that that's done, go ahead and click on here. Okay, right click and copy. Okay, and then drag your mouse all the way down, highlight the cells and right click. Okay, paste. Okay, and that'll give you all your values here. Hit escape to get rid of that. Now that that's done, let's look at number 5 here. We need to format the height measurements in decimal feet to show 2 decimal places. So come back to our column here. Okay, once again highlight them and right click on them. Format cells is what we want here. Click on number and we want 2 decimal places. All right, so that will give us 2 decimal places, the tenths and the hundredths place. All right, go ahead and click OK and there you have it. Now everything is nice and uniform here with 2 decimal places. All right, let's look at number 6 here. So in the cell just below the column of heights in decimal feet, we need to calculate the sum of all of our measurements here. Okay, so to do that, let's come back over here, type in sum. All right, now click in the cell next to it. All right, and then come on up here to this function button or formula, hit it, click on it, type in sum into the search and it will show up. All right, and then just hit OK. And then this is asking us what cells do we want to find this sum of. So we want to find the sum of, grab your mouse and just drag it down, of all these cells. Okay, and then let's do that again and then hit OK and there we have it. Okay, 143.83. All right, let's look at question or task 7 here. Calculate the statistics indicated in the image to the right here. So our mean, mode, standard deviation, minimum, median, maximum, and range. So we need to create this, something like this in Excel here. Create text labels in appropriate cells. Okay, be sure to calculate the population standard deviation. All right, as well as appropriate mode functions, single or multimodal. So here you can see it's bimodal here. All right, so let's come back to Excel. Let's come up here, type in our mean. I believe next was our mode. And then we had our standard deviation. And then let's widen this a little bit here. Our minimum value, our median, our maximum value, and our range. Okay, so let's come over here to this column. Okay, F5, select here. Once again, come over to our function button. Let's do a search for mean. Okay, or it is the same as the average. So select average and hit OK. And then it's asking you for, once again, what cells do you want to use here. So let's indicate this column. Okay, and hit OK. There we have our mean, our average height. All right, our mode. Click on cell F7 here. Once again, hit our function key, type in mode. Okay, hit enter, and then select your mode, hit OK. And once again, highlight the cells you want to use. Hit OK. Okay. I'm going to widen this just a little bit more here. All right, and now let's find our standard deviation. Okay, select this cell. Once again, hit our function key, type in standard deviation. All right, and we want this one right here, STDEV. Select that one. All right, hit OK, and highlight these cells. Okay, and then hit OK. And our minimum function button, you can just type in MIN if I believe. All right, yep, and there it is. Hit OK. Now remember, if this goes too fast or too slow, you can always pause it and work faster on your own, or go backwards if you need more time. All right, so our median, let's go up to our function button, type in median. There it is. All right, it's already highlighted. Hit OK. Select our values. Hit OK. And our maximum, just type in max. There it is. Hit OK. Select our values and hit OK. All right, in the range, it doesn't have in Excel, so we're going to have to create our own customized equation. So select this box. All right, come up here, type enter, select the enter button. All right, and we're going to want to take our maximum value here. All right, minus our minimum value, and then hit enter, and there we have a range of about a foot. One thing I forgot to do is to do the standard deviation of a population here. So that's something we need to do really quick. Okay, so right below standard deviation, type in standard deviation again, parentheses P. Okay, let's widen that row just a little bit. Okay, and let's do the same thing here. Click on F10 here. Go to our function, standard deviation, and we want this one right here. Okay, STDEVP. Okay, and hit OK, and follow. Highlight our values here. Hit OK of our population, and there we have it. Slightly different than a regular standard deviation. So the next thing we need to do here for number 8 is create class intervals, okay, or bins they call them in Excel, for a histogram of 0.250 feet. So these are intervals, all right. So notice each one of these values is 0.250 feet apart, or has an interval of 0.25 feet. And these values need to take into account our minimum and maximum values of height. So they need to cover the spread or the range of our data. So let's come back to Excel. All right, so let's go ahead and type in bins in this column here. All right, so we need to have intervals that take into account our shortest person here, our minimum value of 0.08, our lowest value in our data set, and it needs to cover all of our data values up to our maximum, or our tallest person, our highest value in our data set. So what we're going to do here then is, let's go with 5 because, okay, 5 is lower than 5.08. So what you're going to do then is click below it, all right, come up here and hit the equal sign, okay, and then click back on this cell, F20, and up here you're going to type in plus 0.25. Okay, then hit enter, and then click back on 5.25. Find this little dark square in the corner here with the plus sign, and then drag it down till we have enough that will cover all of our values up to our maximum. So 6.25, that's good. That's more than our maximum. So perfect. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bins or intervals of data. All right, the next thing we need to do is go here to File. You need to update Excel with an add-in here. So go to Options, go to Add-ins, then hit Go, and then check this analysis tool pack and hit OK. Okay, now when you go to Data, this Data Analysis button should appear. All right, so looking back at our assignment here, we need to create a frequency table using the histogram tool, okay, and the data analysis tool. All right, so we also need to create a histogram using the 2D chart tool and format the chart like we see it here down below with height, frequency, and heights. Okay, so let's come back to Excel. Let's click on this cell or one of these cells in this area. We'll go to Data and click on Data Analysis. Make sure you select histogram, hit OK. All right, I'm going to clear these values out so I can show you how. Click in the box. Actually, don't click right here. And we're going to then just select our height values. Hit enter. Okay, click this guy. And then select these bin values that we just created. Hit enter. And then this tells us what cell we want to put our graph in. So hit this guy and then right there. Hit enter. Hit OK. And there we have our histogram. Okay. Remember, we got to call this height. And up here, height as well. Label it. And there we go. Here's your frequency or distribution of class heights. You can see that most of them are around the mean, the average. Okay, and you can also see that we don't have that many tall people. We have more shorter people over here in this interval or range. Okay. All right, so let's look at two different standard deviations here. This is our standard deviation for population. In other words, it takes the standard deviation for all of these values. Okay, so the population of the entire class. The standard deviation of S here kind of randomly samples them and finds the deviation between those certain samples. All right, but remember, standard deviation tells us the amount of variation in our population. If we were all the same height, in other words, we were all 6 foot, standard deviation would be 0. Okay, so, and obviously that's not the case. Obviously, we are all different heights, so this number tells us the amount of variation. Okay, if we had a lot of tall people and a lot of really short people, okay, this number would be greater. And if we were all near the same height, this number would be lower. All right. So we just looked at task 11 here. Let's come over here to task 12. Use the data analysis tool to calculate the descriptive statistics. Okay, and place that output near your calculated statistics. So we got to make this guy right here, this table, and place it right next to our statistics. So let's come back to Excel. Let's just click right here. Okay, go to Data Analysis. All right, let's come down, find Descriptive Statistics. All right, select it, hit OK. Once again, our input range is our height data values. All right, hit enter. And our output range, okay, right here, hit enter. And summary statistics, check that, hit OK. All right, and now let's spread these out a little bit though. So a little more. I'm going to move this a little bit slightly over here. Okay, I'm also going to exaggerate a little bit. Okay, so there you have it. All right, let's look at task number 14 here. Based on your histogram, does the data appear to be normally distributed? Explain your answer. Okay, so let's come back to Excel here. I have here a normal distribution curve. Notice how it's nice and symmetric. All right, in other words, both sides are pretty much equal. Well, if we look at ours here, it's slightly skewed to the left here, meaning most of our values are in the 5.2 to 5.5 interval, and not as many of our values or students are in the 6 to 6.2 range. All right, so when you go to answer your last question, you would just type in 14, okay, and explain, does your curve have that nice normal shape, or is it slightly skewed to the left or right? Where are most of your height values located? Okay. One last thing worth mentioning is that if we did have this nice normal shaped histogram, okay, 68% roughly of our values of our students would have lied within one standard deviation of our mean or average. Okay, two standard deviations. Well, 95.4% of our students would be within two standard deviations of our mean. Okay, so when you're done with this, okay, save it, but also when you go to submit it, save it as a PDF here, okay, anywhere, and just call it 3.7, and then upload it to Blackboard for assignment 3.7, and now you see everything's there. Okay, all right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.